It's your boy Tevin Jameer back at it again with another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. And as you guys can see in the title, today I will be reviewing Raising Kanan season 4. I know I did an episode like a couple weeks ago where I was sharing my thoughts so far on the season, but now that the season is over, I got to give you my overall thoughts like I like to do with the Power Universe. And yeah, if I'm gonna say real quick, I found this season not that good, but I'll explain that later. Basically, I want to do this a little bit differently. Usually, I would just outright say what I liked, disliked, and I kind of just go on and on. But I have three specific points of things that I found bad this season and things that I found good. And I have a lot of bad things to say about this season, actually. But I use these 3 points to try to encapsulate everything that I really have to say. And even with the good stuff, the stuff that I did actually find good, I put that in those 3 points as well. So, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. And let's get started. So, I'm gonna start out with the bad stuff and I'm gonna end with the good because overall I do want to leave this episode on a positive vibe. I mean, I know once I get into my overall thoughts, it's not gonna be as positive, but y'all know what I mean. So, the first bad thing I gotta say about this season, like after the last episode, it made me think how this season was really a filler season and I felt like the pacing was not that good. And what do I mean when I say this was like a filler season? I've seen filler episodes of a show. Obviously, we all have. A lot of shows have filler episodes. But it's like filler episodes are like something in between that I guess sometimes just to show that the characters are doing something, or it's kind of like a build up episode, like it's building up to what we're supposed to see next. This whole season of Raising Kanan, when you really look at it, has really just been nothing but a build up season. Everything has literally been build up. And it also goes back to what I was saying about the pacing. Because with episode 1, I was saying, and this was one of my biggest complaints. I think I mentioned it in the last episode, but I've really been talking about it a lot with my friends. There is no reason why episode 1 of this season was a whole flashback episode. Usually they don't do that, but whole first episode was a flashback just showing where Unique was while everybody else was doing their thing in season 3. Episode 1 was basically season 3, episode 11. And I'm not even telling a joke. Like it dead serious was season 3, episode 11. There is no reason that Unique had to have a whole episode dedicated to him. Now, would I'm be real? Yeah, will we have liked an explanation of where he was at? Of course, but to dedicate a whole episode to it. And you know what? I wouldn't have been as mad with them doing that if some of the things that was established in those episodes had, a overall, conclusion at the end of the season. Everything that was established in episode 1 either got slightly addressed as the season went along but got forgotten about in the finale, or either it just did not come back up. Let's run through it. Unique, obviously, he was like one of the main villains of the season, so of course he was around. Um, Rock having being pregnant by Unique, there it never gets really brought up. It doesn't get brought up. She doesn't say it to him. I even said that in my last episode where I was like, I felt like that was pointless unless they bring it back in some way near the end of the season. And no, they don't bring it up. I mean, when Rock sees Unique, when we actually get to see their conversation, she says that like, oh, we had something special, which I still think that's bull. But she says that they had something special, and she still didn't say, I got pregnant by you. So it's like y'all really just added that in for no reason. As of right now, y'all just added that in for no reason. But I don't see why you would establish that in the first episode of a season and not bring it back up in the last episode, especially since Rock and Unique had multiple conversations throughout this season. It's like you're telling me that it really didn't come up not once. Um, Lou with his drinking problems and basically all the things he was going through because of him being in the game, which I'll save that point for my next point of something I didn't like. Um, Marvin working with Stefano, yeah. Now that's probably the only thing that had a payoff from that episode. But it's not even a full-on payoff. It was just like things just that storyline just kept continuing. So I wouldn't even say it was a payoff. It just they were just continuing that. Um Kanan and his grandmother. Now obviously I think the grandmom died in episode 5 of this season. So obviously, actually, you know what? I'll give them that one too because Lou did reveal to Kanan that Rock was the one that wound up, taking their mom on life support. So yeah, yeah. So or not life support, but y'all know what I mean. Like basically, she was the one to get rid of her for the grandmother because she wanted to go. But yeah. So I guess those are the only two that really actually with Kanan and the grandmother, I feel like that's the only one you can actually said pay off because that actually went into why Kanan is going against Rock by the end of the episode. So that one was actually a payoff. Um Marvin, I wouldn't even call that really a payoff. That was just, them naturally doing what they do. And then everybody else, their storylines is just kind of like, what the hell are we doing here? Um, what else? What else? Yeah, but just overall, this season, it just felt like a filler season. It just felt like a build up season. I feel like a lot of the stuff didn't reach a satisfying conclusion. And here's the thing, I get it, and this is what me and my friend Corey was talking about. I get it, we are supposed to be left at some type of anticipation so that we'll watch the next season. But if you look at, and it's not even just Raising Kanan, but just any TV show, most TV shows, when they have a set storyline or stuff that they establish in a season, you're supposed to leave fans with a satisfying conclusion to maybe that season's story, but still do enough to build up anticipation for the next season. So what do I mean by it? We can use Raising Kanan as an example. Season 1 of Raising Kanan was all about Kanan trying to get in the game and Rock and Unique their first war against each other. That was stuff that was established in the first episode. In the last episode, Kanan was fully now in the game because his mom had him shoot Detective Howard, who wound up actually being his dad, but he didn't know that. But Howard knew that that was his son. So Kanan basically shot a cop, and the whole last episode of season 1 was about all the cops trying to figure out, like in the city, like who shot this cop. And not only that, but Rock used Kanan shooting Howard in her plan to get Unique locked up so that she would win the war and be on top of the drug game. That is how things from episode 1 paid off in season 2, but we're still left with the anticipation because Kanan had to leave town for shooting a cop. So we also need to see what would, happen after that. And now that Rock is on top of the game in the city, we would see basically in season 2 how she's running. So there's a payoff and there's still satisfaction. Let's go to season 2. Season 2 was about Rock and the Thomas family versus the Italians, and it's also about Kanan getting more into the game, but also getting closer to his dad now that he knew that Howard was his dad. What resulted is in the last episode, the Italians made their attack on the Thomas organization and basically wiped out plenty of people, but Marvin, Lou, and Rock all survived. But the reason that Rock survived was because her former enemy became her friend, and Unique and Rock basically set up, somewhat of an alliance. So we got the conclusion that Rock and Unique is cool now. Kanan got closer to his father, and now he's gonna start questioning Rock even more. Like we got the satisfaction of what we established early in season 2, but we still had anticipation of other things. Like now that Marvin decided to become a better father, we get to see him and Juke's relationship. Um, Lou, now that losing his girlfriend at the time to the game once again, like now he's really trying to get out of the game. Like he's now everything is really starting to build up on him. Um and like I said, Rock and Unique, they're cool now, but also that also leads into the future. Like now that Unique saved her life, what is gonna come in season 3? Then let's look at season 3. Ronnie gets out of jail. Kanan actually starts making his own moves outside of his mom. Um, Rock wants to leave the game. And in the season finale of season 3, Rock gets back in the game, but this time she is warned if you leave the game again, there's only one way out. Kanan, while still working with Ronnie does something that he doesn't like, so he winds up getting rid of Ronnie to, protect his mom and protect, his family and stuff like that. So I know I just gave a lot of examples, but y'all get what I'm saying. There is always something established at the beginning with an actual payoff, but there's still more to come in the next season. What did we get from that in season 4? And you know what? I'm open to hearing people's perspectives. So if you guys personally feel like there was a big payoff at the end of this season, like something from episode 1 that had an actual big payoff in season 4, then let me know. Let me know down below. But honestly, personally, me, I don't see anything to where it's like, yeah, I really felt like my time was invested very well. My second problem is just bad character development. Just bad character development. Besides Kanan and Jukebox, I feel like most of the characters this season did not have any good development. I already said in the other episode my problems with Unique, so I would say this episode is kind of like a companion piece to the last one. So watch the last one and then watch this one. But if you want to know my issues with Unique, just go over there. But as far as Marvin, he just kind of went back into his old ways. I remember season 3, one of the things everybody kept saying about Marvin was that he was getting done, like he was doing things the right way. Just for season 4, he's kind of going back as far as messing things up for the family. He's kind of went back to how he was in season 1 and 2, just lashing out, doing things that kind of messes up the organization. Though the only situation where I actually did agree with him was when he was, I forget the name of the guy that they were working with, that one Asian family that supplied them the trucks and the factories and stuff like that. When the one said that he wants to leave the game and he'll go to the cops, and Marvin shot him after that, honestly, I don't blame Marvin for that, because it's like the dude was literally talking about snitching. Like, I guarantee if you kept him alive, he would. But then Rock also did bring up a good point. Like, then he would also be snitching on himself, so why would he do that? So, yeah, I guess in the long run, I still agree that Marvin messed up pretty much everything. But I still like Marvin's character this season. He still had some good moments, like when he saved that one girl from that horrible foster family. Like, yeah, so Marvin had his good moments, and also him protecting Juke. I did like. So he didn't downgrade as a character. It just, we seen him go back into old habits that I felt like he grew out of in season 3. Um, then we got Lou, who I feel like is the worst downgrade of. Now, this is actually a downgrade. Like, I feel like that was the worst decision they made, making Lulu talk about some. Oh, I love this game so much. I was going through it because I couldn't believe that I actually liked it. See, the idea of that, I would say, is not bad, because this is the Power Universe. All these people somehow like this shit that they do, but I feel like you need to establish that. With Lou, there was nothing throughout the first 3 seasons that said he actually likes what he do. I feel like the only kill that he really had throughout the whole series so far, and if I'm forgetting anything, let me know down below. But I feel like the only kill that he had so far in this series to where he actually enjoyed what he did was with Crown, with Crown Camacho. Wait, yeah, I think that was his name. The guy played by Diddy's son. Um, he was the only person that I actually seen Lou enjoy kill in this series. Everybody else was either to protect his family, like he even said in season 4, protect his family, or either because Rock told him to. That doesn't sound like you enjoyed it. That just sounds like, you were just going through the motions because that's what you mostly knew best. Now, if you said, if, because he also, like I said, he also did say that he realizes that he can't protect his family if he's not in the game. So if they basically was like, oh, Lou's getting back in the game, to protect his family, then I can see that point. But to sit here and say that I think I went through all of that because I enjoyed it, it's like, when did you show any sign of enjoying? So if there was little breadcrumbs where they established that he low key enjoyed it in the first 3 seasons, besides Crown, but he personally hated Crown, so that's why I don't even count that. Like, yeah, so if there was more of an establishment, if there was like little breadcrumbs or signs that he actually did low key enjoy it, then I could get with that point. But this to have him get back in the game because he low key enjoys it just didn't make a lick of sense to me. They should have just left it at when he said, I need to protect y'all. That is perfect. That is perfectly justifiable. That's the only explanation we needed. But for him to go to Rock and say, I'm not going to get that quote out of my head because that was so ridiculous when I heard it. Oh, I low key enjoyed it. Mm, okay. But yeah, bad character development. I like I said, I also said what I said about Unique. Rock, I can't really say her character development was bad. I just feel like she was stagnant this season in terms of character development. She didn't really change. And I know a lot of people is going to point out how in the finale, a lot of people kept calling her a monster and saying that we see who you are, and I don't think you see who you are. Honestly, Rock has already had moments like that throughout the rest of the series. And even deep down, I feel like she probably already even knows that she's low key a monster because, in season 3, there was a whole arc of her trying to leave the game. I feel like sometimes people will want to leave, not even just because of the danger that it holds towards them and their family, but I feel like they would also want to leave because they know what they're capable of and how much of a monster they are. So I guess if you want to say character development because of that for Rock, like now I guess she's gonna full on address the type of person that she is. But I just can't see that as character development because she already had moments like that throughout the series already. And the last point that I want to say that was bad is Kanan showing up to Rock in the last episode and threatening to shoot her. And I'm only going to say threatening to shoot her because the screen went black and we heard a gunshot, but we don't know what happened. And I'll save my theory for the end of this episode. But basically, I don't like the whole Kanan pulling up and trying to shoot Rock thing. Basically, it was basically just Tariq and Ghost all over again. I didn't like it with Tariq and Ghost, and I don't like it with Kanan and Rock. I feel like Power needs to stop this whole parent killing child, child killing parent storyline. It's the one reason that I say the Power Universe low key do need to end because let's keep it real. Why are we making a whole dedicated universe to drug dealers? It's not like there's much of a story to be told over. Like when you're making a show about drug dealers, you kind of get the same story over and over, especially in this Power Universe. Kind of like what I said in the last episode. Rock being pregnant didn't mean nothing to me because in the world of Power, when you are pregnant, you're not having that baby. There has never been a successful pregnancy in the Power universe. Um, Now, also with another running theme of parent or child killing the other or trying to kill the other. It's just this. I'm sick of seeing this storyline, bruh. I will give Raising Kanan this. There's a better argument. There's a better argument for why they used it in this series than in any other Power series. Like I said, the comparison of Tariq and Ghost. I already said before, I hate that this show is trying to make Kanan act so much like Tariq, but it's just never gonna click for me. The whole Kanan and Tariq thing, like them acting like each other, it's never going to click for me because Tariq, and I know a lot of people hate Kanan right now, but the reason that I can't hate Kanan for some of the things that he's doing is like Tariq was he was raised with a silver spoon. He was in a high rise penthouse, any designer clothes, anything he ever wanted. And throughout the show of the original Power, Ghost, yeah, Ghost has done some up things, but we also seen how those up things resulted in positive results for everybody, especially Tariq. With Rock, now, you could also say the same thing about her. She made a lot of decisions that had a lot of up things, but they were good results in the end. Kind of like what she said to Kanan earlier this season, like you hate what I do, but you love the results. But there is also certain things that Rock has done that actually is negative. Like there was no positive. There was actually more negative than anything else. Putting a gun in Kanan's book bag to get him in trouble at school. Um, Making him shoot Detective Howard. You have so many goons, but you made him, your son, shoot somebody. Um, and there's just other things that Rock has done throughout the show where I don't see the positive in all of that. But so that's why I say it's better, but that's why I say it's better executed here for why a kid would want to do that to their parent. But overall, I still don't feel like Kanan is justified in doing it. And part of it is that's your parent. Look, even if we throw that out the window, the whole believing Rock did everything. Now, I'm gonna give Kanan some grace because a lot of fans hate Kanan right now for believing that Rock was involved with Famous's death, Crystal's death, and all this other stuff this season. I'm gonna give Kanan some grace because a lot of Power fans are talking in hindsight right now. They're talking in hindsight. Before it was revealed that Snaps and Pops was the people that got rid of Famous and also got rid of Crystal. Before that was revealed, I remember the number one theory was Marvin did it. And a lot of people believe that Marvin did it, I included. A lot of people believe that Marvin did it because Rock told him to do it. So in essence, Rock would have been the reason. That was a lot of people's number one theory that Rock was basically behind Famous's death. And I even remember hearing theories that Crystal, a lot of people either believed that Crystal was going to get taken out by Juke or Rock until, obviously we knew what we found out. Um, so that's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of these theories pointed to Rock just as much. So if us as the viewers believe that Rock genuinely did this stuff, how can we not believe that Kanan didn't? Now, here's where I say I give him a little bit of grace. So I give him a little bit of grace uh up to a certain point because after a while it should have started to become a little bit obvious that Snaps and Pops was the one behind it. First off, his main reasoning for really believing that Rock did it was that he saw Rock with talking to cops. He saw Rock talking to cops, but literally, I think either earlier in the season or even that same episode, he literally walked into Snaps and Pop's business and saw them talking to cops. So if you're gonna have that same logic for Rock, then you need to have the same logic for Snaps and Pops. Not only that, but the way they talk about Snaps and Pops, basically that they're a legendary duo in the game, that they know everything and everybody, and no move is made in New York without them knowing. How is it that these people know everybody? Everybody, they know everybody's business. But for some reason, they just don't know who got your friend and they don't know who got your girlfriend or until they eventually said Rock did it. But like for the longest, they just kept telling you, "Oh, we don't know. We don't know. We're going to ask our peoples." It's like they know any and everything about every body. But you're telling me that they did not know this for the longest. And conveniently, when it's time to give you information, they tell you that it's your mom when you know that they don't even like your mom. That's where I'm like, okay, Kanan, now you're starting to bug me a little bit because it's like I can see where you're coming from somewhat, but at the same time, it's like these two definitely know something. They definitely know something. And even and that was one thing that I wish they did, and that this would probably satisfy me a little bit with the ending of this season. If Kanan even got a hint that it was Snaps and Pops. Like if they even had a little hint, I mean if he even had a little hint that it was them, then I would be like, okay, then yeah, then that's what we'll go off of the next season, like just getting that hint. But no, he didn't even get a hint. And it's crazy that Juke didn't even. And Juke is like the voice of reason for a lot of these characters. Like, she's pointing out things that a lot of these characters don't see or don't know. And she even was like, Snaps and Pops always got some type of angle. Why didn't Kanan think about that? Like, yeah, you're right. Or why didn't Juke go more into it? Like, don't you think that it's kind of interesting? Like, yeah. I don't know. But all in all, I'm saying all this to say that The Rock, The Rock, the Kanan possibly shooting rock scenario, it's just stupid in my opinion. I really don't like that they're doing it, and Power needs to let go of that parent and child pew pewing at each other theme. But let's get into the three good things that I got to say about this season. First, handling Famous's death. For some reason, the actual actor, which I didn't watch any of the interviews yet on why he didn't come back this season, but the actor that plays Famous, for some reason he wasn't in this season. If you guys know the reason, let me know down below. But he didn't come back this season, so basically they had to film a lot of stuff, and address his character's death without him. And I gotta say that the way they handled it was really good, despite not having the actor there. I personally liked how they did it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I personally liked how they handled it. And also, the episode where Famous was confirmed dead, and we got his backstory, and we got to see his mom and Jess come back in the episode. Like, that was probably my favorite episode of season 4, because the writing, the character like studies and all of that, like the way they handled that episode felt like season 1 to 3 Raising Kanan. Like, that was an episode of the first 3 seasons quality. um and there's not really much to say with that one. I pretty much said everything there. The second good thing about this season is Kanan and Juke's growth, where I feel like everybody else's character development sucked. Kanan and Juke's growth is there. Now, I'm not saying Kanan as far as his brains, because he obviously is making a lot of stupid decisions right now. But where I do give Kanan credit is like what I said in the last episode. I'm starting to see the original Power Kanan in this guy. This season, he's ruthless, beating people up. The way he threatened people, the way that he talks, the smart responses that he gives to people, like that savage Kanan that we saw in the original Power. I'm seeing it here, but I gotta say the biggest MVP of the whole season is definitely Juke. I don't know if I addressed it in the last episode, or the last episode I made about Raising Kanan, but Haley Kilgore, the girl that plays, or the woman, I should say, the woman that plays Juke, oh my God. Oh my God. One of the best performances of the whole series. And I'm not just even talking about the basketball court scene. I'm just saying in general, this season was definitely her season when it comes to acting. And not that she hasn't been good for the rest of the series. She's been amazing for the rest of the series. But personally, I feel like there's actors in Raising Kanan that some seasons it's their season, like they're the top actor on the show, putting in the best performance. Like season 1, I gotta say, would definitely Patina Miller. Season 2, once again, Patina Miller, but I would also give it to Malcolm Mays. Oh, wait, is it Malcolm Mays? The guy that plays Uncle Marvin. I would give it to Marvin. Season 3, Ronnie, Famous, Marvin, Luke, pretty much almost everybody killed it in season 3. But season 4 is Haley Kilgore's season. The way that she embodied Anika Noni Rose from the original Power was crazy. And like I said, it's not even just the basketball court scene, but just seeing Juke get more darker and deeper into the game. We really saw the original Juke in this season, and I really hope they dive deep more into that on in season 5. Um, and then the last good thing I gotta say is Breeze. Finally, we got to meet Breeze, but it's not even just because of meeting Breeze, because I wasn't really worried about meeting Breeze. I knew eventually we would, obviously. It's just, I'm more happy so that the dumb theories that we've been having can finally go away. No more dumb theories. No more famous as Breeze. No more unique as Breeze. No more Uncle Marvin, Lou. I got so sick of the theories. So when it finally came out that Breeze was in this season, yeah, I was hyped. And not only that, but they got my boy Shamik Moore to play Breeze. Now I know a lot of people are hating on Shamik Moore because of the whole Haley Steinfeld and the other girl from Spider-Man Homecoming. Look, Look, I'm here to watch him act. I don't give a about his horrible Riz game in real life. Riz game. But like I don't care about, him trying to get with girls and it's failing. I don't care about how horribly he is at talking to women. I'm here to see him act. That's all I care about. And thus far, he is a great actor. From the Wu-Tang series, the Get Down, which is one of my favorite Netflix shows, probably my favorite Netflix original show ever. He was amazing in the Get Down. Dope, he was amazing. And Spider Man, of course, the Spider Verse movies. He's a great voice actor. So he's always been a great actor. Don't let him not being able to get girls take away from his talent, because the dude is very talented, and I'm very hyped to see Shamik Moore in the show. We already knew that he was going to be in it. It just we didn't get it confirmed that he was going to be Breeze, obviously, because they would want to keep that secret. But yeah, and I'm glad they got someone of Shamik Moore's talent to be in the show, because when I saw that he was in there, I had a strong feeling that he would be Breeze, because it's like you're not gonna hire Shamik Moore to play some low level thug. Like you're gonna have him play somebody important because he has the talent to play someone important. So I'm very hyped to see him on the show, and I definitely want to see where things go, especially with Power Origins. That's the main spinoff that I'm waiting for, and that's really the only spinoff that I really need at this point. Young Ghost and Tommy, and then Makai Curtis, who plays Kanan, done amazing through Raising Kanan. So I know he's gonna kill it in Origins. Breeze, Shamik Moore is just gonna make Origins like a crazy behind show. Haley Kilgore, I hope Juke stays a series regular in Origins, but Ghost and Tommy only talked about Juke here and there in the original Power, so I don't know how much of a role she's gonna play in Origins, because we might even get Angela, Tasha, and like all them, because they were all in the same neighborhood. So yeah, yeah. Overall, if I gotta say my overall thoughts, this season was not really that good. But here's what I meant earlier when I said I'm going to address when I say that this is not good compared to the first three seasons of Raising Kanan. Like if I'm just comparing this season alone, it's decent television. If I'm comparing it to the rest of the Power universe, it's decent television. I actually like this season more than most of Ghost. And that's not even me trying to hate on Ghost, but I do like this season more than, many aspects of Ghost. But um compared to Raising Kanan season 1 through 3, this season was bad. So I guess if you want to compare it to Raising Kanan, bad. You want to compare it to pretty much any other show in the Power universe and just TV shows in general, this season was just decent. Um, I think this is one of the reasons this season disappointed me so much, is because I tell people all the time the original Power is like my second favorite show of all time. Boy Meets World, Power, then I would say Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those are like my three favorite shows of all time. And sorry for my ashy behind hands. I didn't put lotion on yet. But those three are like my favorite shows of all time. And I always told people that Raising Kanan is the only spinoff. While I do like the other spinoffs, I do think Ghost is pretty good, or good. But Raising Kanan was the only spinoff that I actually said, if they keep up this quality, is going to be better than the original Power, or either on par with the original Power. And this season really disappointed me because I can't say that no more. And I tell people that season 6 of the original Power kind of disappointed me. But when I really think about that, when I really think about it, the only disappointing parts of season 6 of the original Power really was the Who Shot Ghost part of the season. And even within that, I had some of the best episodes of the series in there. The Tommy episode, Dre's episode was pretty good. Paz's episode is actually pretty good. The only reason that I hated it is just because it felt like a waste of time in the moment. Or not even in the moment. It still feels like a waste of time because we all knew she didn't shoot Ghost. But it was still a good character study on Paz especially seeing how she ended up later in the series, like it just kind of was more satisfying in hindsight. I don't think that's the case with Raising Kanan season 4. I don't think it's going to be satisfying in hindsight. But yeah, like yeah, this season was just very disappointing. And I guess to touch on the hindsight point, that was something that I slightly touched on with my friend Corey. And I know he's probably gonna watch this episode. So Corey, if you want to do a follow up episode with me and like me and you talk about it, because I do kind of want to bounce ideas off with somebody else about this season. But one thing I said to Corey is maybe, and I'm only saying maybe because I won't know until I actually do it, but maybe this season will be better in hindsight. Like, I'm watching this, I'm disappointed as someone that's watching this as a premiere, but maybe for someone new into the Power Universe and they're like binging the show, maybe season 4 will be better because it's like then there is no waiting, there is no anticipation. Like, you're just gonna watch the whole show straight through. Maybe that will make season 4 a better viewing experience. But for where I'm at watching the season as a premiere, yeah, nah, it just wasn't good. And like I said, eventually, someday, eventually, when the show is over and I rewatch the whole show, maybe it will be better in hindsight. But like, uh, I just maybe, but I truthfully don't feel that it probably won't be. But yeah, that was excuse me. That was pretty much my thoughts on this season. If I had to give this a rating, I give this a blue balls out of 10. And if you've seen the season, then you know what I mean. This season was straight blue balls. But realistically, if I had to really give a real rating, I give this a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, which is crazy because Raising Kanan has always been 10 out of 10 seasons for me. But yeah, this was, yeah. Um, you know, this is the Hate It or Love It podcast. You might have loved my opinion. You might have hated it. If you guys are also fans of Raising Kanan, let me know how y'all feel about it down below. Like I said, if there's any points that you disagree with, don't be disrespectful, but like, tell me how you feel about it because I'm always up for a conversation. I'm always up to have people try to change my mind on things. So yeah, like if there's redeeming qualities that you feel for this season, let me know and maybe you might change my perspective because I don't want to look at this series in a bad way. I really don't. I really don't. But like this season just wasn't it for me. But yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed. With all that being said, Tevin Jameer signing out. Catch y'all on the next one.